Hello, I'm Heather. I'm studying for a master's degree at the University of Bern in Switzerland. I went to school, did my A-levels in Stockport. I did maths, physics, chemistry and German. I was told to show some pictures. So this is our cat showing what she thinks of A-level revision and one of my snowy sixth form commutes. And when I was doing my A-levels, I was applying to university and didn't really know what I wanted to apply to. I was choosing between physics and engineering, and I eventually applied to physics at Cambridge. And at Cambridge, you don't just study physics, you have to study natural sciences, which means you do other subjects in the first 2 years. So as well as lots of physics, I also had the chance to do earth science, and I really liked this. And I especially liked the crossover between the two, so the physics part of earth science and the earth science part of physics. And I thought that this would be something I'd be interested in continuing in. And I've done some earth science field trips, which were great fun. Did lots of experimental physics, and I also did trombone playing and running and hill walking. And during my time at Cambridge, or between the second and third year, I did an internship, which was quite related to weather and climate. This is something I found myself by emailing a professor at St Andrews. And in the end, it didn't take place at St Andrews because it was COVID year, so I just did it in my bedroom. But I think this is quite important actually, because it was very useful for references for most applications I've made since then. Because in my physics degree, I basically did no weather and climate specific topics. So this is a very useful thing to have. At the end of my 3 years at Cambridge, I decided I didn't want to do the 4th year physics masters. I thought I wanted to do more specific weather and climate masters. So I applied to different ones. I applied to Reading in the UK, and I applied to some courses in Germany and Switzerland. And I was accepted onto a course in Bern, and this is what I'm doing now. So it's a 2-year master course. The first year you do lecture courses, and it's structured so that you can also do lecture courses at other Swiss universities. So I did quite a lot of atmospheric physics courses at ETH in Zurich. And then the second year, you can either do a master project for the whole year, or you can do a shorter master project for 6 months and then an internship. And I chose the second option. And I recently finished in April my master project. I looked at the planetary boundary layer height and how we can detect this with different instruments and different methods. And this was connected to a bigger project at ETH University in Zurich called Cloud Lab, which was looking at ice formation in clouds. And as part of my project, it's also just for fun, I was able to go and help out at the field site of this bigger project. Here's some pictures from that. Basically, they were doing cloud seeding experiments to investigate ice formation. So it was overnight field work in the winter. They would have drones flying around, firing a flare to release particles, and then ice forms on these particles, and then you use the other instruments at the field site to try and measure these particles. And it's quite a funny outtake video of me trying to launch a radiosonde wearing skiing gloves, which is not to be recommended. Yes, so this is really great fun, and the best part of the project, going to help out at this field site. I definitely recommend if you ever have a chance to go and help out at field work. Good fun. Very, very cold, but good fun all the same. No. Between the 2 years of my master project, I had summer job with the Royal Meteorological Society, working with Sylvia. I worked on making some Isaac physics questions related to the atmosphere and climate. And I also had the chance to go to some conferences and help out, which was lots of fun. And then since April, I've been working in my internship, which is the last part of my master's. I have to do 6 months internship. And this is taking place in St. Gallen in East Switzerland. It's with a company called Meteormatics. And they are a weather company, but they don't tend to do much weather forecasting. It's all about the technology and IT of weather data. So they have developed their own weather model, and they distribute weather data to lots of different companies and customers. So people like energy companies, people who have wind farms and they want very local, highly accurate forecasts for their wind farms or their solar panel farms. And this is what this company does. And it also has another aspect, which I'm not really involved in, which is developing drones for making weather measurements, with the idea that these could eventually complement or replace radiosondes. And everyone always asks why I came to Switzerland. I think there are a few different reasons. I wanted to practice my German, so I'd done at A-level. I wanted to do a specialised master course in weather and climate, which of course you can also do in the UK. And it's also about the adventure of coming to live abroad. Lots of very, very amazing mountains. Bern is a very lovely place. And yes, I've kept up with the trombone playing. Going to orchestra rehearsals in German is a lot of fun. And my next step, starting in November this year, is I'll be starting a PhD also in Switzerland, but in Lausanne at EPFL. And this is about radar measurements of precipitation in the Antarctic. Hopefully with some field work to go and set up these radar instruments. And then looking at the water cycle, precipitation formation, and isotopes in ice cores as well. So I'm very much looking forward to that and continuing the weather and climate adventure.